The situation between Israel and the United States is getting a wee bit awkward. Well, what in the world is really going on here? As of course, a lot of people have some very interesting things to say, especially when it comes to the Trump administration and their very kind of weird and bizarre behavior towards Israel. As of course, this is a topic that is very controversial. Usually people go pretty far off into the deep ends when discussing this. We usually like to keep an even keel type of conversation about what actually is going on, as a lot of people have either absolute just emotional blinds when it comes to this conversation going either way. And I refuse to subject myself to a lot of that kind of regressive, generalized thinking, as this conversation is very nuanced, very important, as the conversation now props up with what Donald Trump just posted, endorsing two very controversial people for re-election in Congress. Individuals that don't have the best of track records, as this has led individuals like Nick Fuentes to talk about how Donald Trump just betrayed everyone, as we have Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna coming out and saying, no, Donald Trump is not controlled, not betraying anyone. He is still America first. Now, she makes a very interesting argument. We're going to be playing both arguments here, and you will decide which one do you think is more accurate, which one do you think is more true, as these conversations are not easy to have. And if you appreciate us having these type of conversations, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time that you, of course, spend with us and the attention that you give us. Now, there's a lot of weird cartoons, a lot of strangeness, just a wild type of very tense situation between the Jewish people, the Muslim people, the Christian people, as now a lot of people on the right are saying, you know, there's a lot of tensions between Jewish people and Christians as well. Something that it looks like the Vice President of the United States decided to personally address by going out and visiting the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Now, usually politicians go to Israel and they go to the kissing wall and they do their ritual. And we didn't see J.D. Vance do that. He went to this Christian church here, as during his stay there was very tense arguments and public shows of disrespect against J.D. Vance, what J.D. Vance said was crazy. The Israelis, the Knesset, their kind of like congressional leadership came out and said, yeah, we're going to go annex the West Bank. The West Bank where there's a lot of Christian churches in. And this is why J.D. Vance's type of visit here to this church was so important. It was so kind of representative of the White House making deals with Middle Eastern countries, saying annexing the West Bank is totally out of the deal. It's totally not going to happen. The Israeli government said, yeah, we're going to make it happen. And then Bibi was asked about this, saying, hey, you have anything to say about this type of maneuver? And he came out and said, yeah, we're an independent country. What? Publicly disrespecting, again, the public wishes of Donald Trump, who came out and said, no, there's going to be no annexation of the West Bank. Bibi said, yeah, we're an independent country. We're going to do what we want to do. They're not that independent, specifically when it comes to U.S. foreign aid, by the way, as right now, in the face of this disrespect, Donald Trump just decided to endorse two of what I would describe as the biggest type of Israeli government Bibi-aligned representatives within our own government. Weird how that happens. As of course, this is not the first time that Bibi Netanyahu publicly disrespected the president of the United States. There are now multiple incidences of Donald Trump saying, okay, please stop doing this, and the Israelis just keep doing it. Not the Israelis, Bibi, to be specifically consistent with everything that we're saying here. As the health ranger said, who is controlling Trump's Truth Media account? It sure isn't anyone who supports the America First agenda. As Tom Woods tweeted this out, saying, Donald, whatever you did, just come clean. It can't be worse than all this humiliation. As Donald Trump came out and says, Congressman Randy Fine is a MAGA warrior. He took Gates's seat. Worst trade ever, in my public opinion. Quote, who is doing a fantastic job representing Florida's 6th congressional district. This is the guy that, by the way, called for the starvation of all of Gaza. Now, at least he admitted that there's a starvation, right? As the Israeli government and other right-wing figures were saying there's no starvation. And Donald Trump was like, yeah, there's starvation. Randy Fine decided to take it up a notch, just saying, yeah, they're starving, and we need to starve them more until they release the hostages. Now, luckily, Donald Trump did release the hostages. But there was even accusations against Randy Fine that AIPAC was pulling out of his support because he was a little bit, I would say, hyperbolic with his statements. I think that's a fair assessment here. He goes on, a Harvard-educated and successful businessman, Randy was a highly respected state legislator prior to becoming a distinguished U.S. congressman. He loves the great people of the Sunshine State, which I won 3 times, 2016, 2020, and 2024. In Congress, Randy is fighting tirelessly to grow our economy, cut taxes, and regulations, promote made in the USA, advance American energy dominance, keep our now very secure border secure, stop immigration crime, champion our military veterans, defend our always under siege Second Amendment, and restore peace through strength. As people are saying, why would you do this? As Nick Fuentes had a particular response to this. Now, his response is interesting because it goes along with a video that now we have a member of Congress directly contradicting. Now, before playing that video, before playing Nick's video, before getting into this kind of deeper dive discussion into all of this, we wanted to remind you that, hey, we have the bestpoliticalshirts.com. That's actually our website that we have coined, where you could get incredible shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now that says anti-government pro-boob. A very simple message, a message that's meant to evoke some thought and like, oh, wow, this guy gets it. And it's a funny shirt. It's meant to, of course, break the ice when it comes to conversations. If you're trying to be more social, if you're trying to engage in conversations, this is the best way to do it. Now, if you want to find this particular shirt, all you have to do is type in BOOB into the search bar right here, and bada bing, bada boom. You got it. Right here, available in long sleeve for $32. We have a whole bunch of other shirts. Again, we have short sleeves, women's shirts, tank tops, you name it. You just got to dig around, search for a little bit. I like the long sleeves in Florida if you're trying to hide away from the sun, or if there's too much AC, you could always roll up your sleeves. I just like long sleeves. That's just my personal favorite way to just wear t-shirts personally myself. But be the talk of the town. Start some interesting conversations. Do your own form of lazy activism by getting yourself a very funny, thoughtful, conversation-starting shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Again, lots of them are meant to... some of them are a little bit more serious. Vast majority of them are just ridiculous, right? They're just absolutely... I'm going to start taking down some of these shirts because some of them are very timely. And we kind of want to keep it up just to be relevant because we have so many shirts. I mean, we have an exorbitant amount of t-shirts that you could pick from. And then it's going to evoke some type of emotion. Sometimes it's positive. Vast majority of the times it's positive. Sometimes, I out of the many years that I've been wearing these shirts, one time I had a negative experience. It was pretty funny. But regardless of that, overwhelmingly positive. Most people, when they see you, will say positive things. You'll see some liberal back. That's pretty funny. I like doing that. So check it out. Check them out on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Now, Nick Fuentes has his own particular take on this, saying, quote, Trump just endorsed both Lindsey Graham and Randy Fine for their re-election 2026. Quote, total betrayal. After 10 years of MAGA, the party should have already expelled these types of people. Instead, they have more power and access than the America First caucus. As Donald Trump has waged a war against Thomas Massie and Senator Rand Paul. And now, again, personally, you know where I stand. I like the Thomas Massie, Rand Paul type. The ones that Donald Trump just endorsed, for me, I disagree with some of their policies here. As Glenn Greenwald said, when Israel uses American money and weapons to murder Americans, as has happened often, Israel lobbyists in both parties in Washington will side with and defend Israel. Many in the America, quote, first movement, end quote, do the same. Trump's latest endorsement for U.S. Congressman, as he points out, an old tweet back in 2024 of September of Randy Fine saying there's a reason. The first time I shook Netanyahu's hand, I did not wash it until I could touch the heads of my children. So clearly, he has his type of, allegiances and priorities. As Nick talked about how a lot of the kind of geopolitical goals and objective of Israel are against American principles and ideology, and then he described why that is. Now, Congresswoman Anna Paulina had a response to a lot of the kind of criticism that Trump is getting, because again, let's be honest, Trump, J.D. Vance were just kind of disrespected by Bibi by saying, yeah, we're West Bank, that's ours. And Trump and J.D. Vance are like, we just made the deal with all of the Muslim countries saying we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't touch that, like, this is ridiculous, please stop doing it. And they're like, yeah, we'll do it again. Whoa there. That's a very uncomfortable situation, to be quite honest. That is not that nice. Here's what Nick Fuentes had to say about this type of ongoing situation, and then we'll play Anna Paulina Luna after this.
They will always be expanding. So their interests are completely hostile to ours. And that is why it is America first, not to say, let's get Israel to sign up to a truce. Okay, they signed on the dotted line. We're good. Now we can do something else. They must be fundamentally confronted by the United States. And they must be effectively impaired. They must be made unable to do these things. And at the end of the day,
now, why is Israel able to kind of flex its might and bomb all these places? Well, that's because the United States backs them 110%. A quarter of our THAAD missile defense systems are in Israel right now. Our, military installations are all over the Middle East right now. And when the war with Iran popped off, the United States, along with the German government, the British government, NATO forces, all sent their resources to the Middle East, and they were shooting down the Iranian missiles in Syria, in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan, in all these other countries off the coast of Israel. And still, the Iranian missiles were getting through to the point where there was kind of a media demand to stop showing the missiles hitting in order not to help out the Iranians.
The reason why that is extremely difficult, it's two things. Why can the United States never impair Israel, never really control them, never really restrain them in a systemic way?
You would think that, hey, the United States is paying for all of this. We're the ones using our kind of diplomatic favors. We're the ones kind of putting our reputation online. You would think, like, hey, we're paying for everything. I'm the sugar daddy or the sugar baby. That doesn't look like that's the case here, especially with this latest kind of endeavor.
There's two reasons. Israel's control over our political system. If any American government tried to impose restrictions, tried to circumscribe Israel's freedom of action in the Middle East, there would be hell to pay from the Zionist lobby in America. We have elections every 4 years. The money's open, the media's open, the political system is open. So if you're Obama and you impose an Iranian nuclear deal on Israel, which is how they see it, they're going to be coming after Obama from Fox News, and they're going to be coming at Obama because of Citizens United. Sheldon Adelson will pour $100 million to the coffers of the Republicans.
And he's talking about how there's a lot of big money behind the scenes. And then second reason, he described a situation where Israel has nukes. And he hypothetically talks about this theory that, again, there's no evidence of, but this is his kind of assessment and take on it, that Israel will say, we'll just nuke everything. We'll nuke America. And we saw Bibi, just even a few weeks ago, kind of talk about how the Iranians are going to be nuking New York City, nuking Mar-a-Lago. As a lot of people were saying, well, that sounded like a kind of threat, potentially. As we know, the Israelis have a nuke. The Pakistanis have a nuke, too. So as far as, like, Israel's kind of military kind of aggression, it's pretty clear that under Bibi, There's a lot of that. After October 7th, there's a lot of that. And a lot of people talk about how the war in Iran was only kind of an appetizer and how there's going to be other bigger conflicts with Iran popping up soon. And then if Iran falls and topples, then it's going to be Pakistan. Since Pakistan was even openly talking about doing a truce, doing a deal with Iran, saying, listen, if you attack Iran, we're going to defend them with nukes. A very type of serious escalation that serious discussions were happening. As Israel was saying, yeah, as soon as we're done with Iran, there was Israeli military people being like, yeah, as soon as we're done with Iran, we got to go after Pakistan. We can't have a nuclear armed Muslim country here, as there's a lot of hatred, a lot of history, a lot of bloodshed. Now, here's what Congresswoman Anna Paulina says, as some people are saying, this is the Republican version of, quote, Biden is mentally alert and healthy as ever. This is according to Chris Rossini, who said this with this particular clip here with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna saying Donald Trump's not controlled by any foreign country.
I just got this sent to me. I'll read it. This actually was just posted in regards to Eric Cortellessa, who's a Time magazine reporter. He said, during my latest interview with President Trump, he made clear to Netanyahu the consequences if he capitulates to extremists in his coalition and moves to annex the West Bank. Israel would lose all of its support from the United States if that happened. So President Trump, a lot of people have tried to say that he's controlled, and he's not. And when people do that, that is such a cop-out response because, well, look at what he's doing.
Now, is Donald Trump controlled, or is the U.S. government, or is the U.S. military controlled? Tucker Carlson was even talking about how there was members of the Israeli military at the Pentagon barking orders and being allegedly disrespectful to the U.S. Pentagon staff when the United States joined Israel with bombing Iran. Something, of course, that a lot of people were against. Charlie Kirk was going to the president of the United States when he was still alive at the time during the bombing and saying, please, this is not America first. Don't do this. Donald Trump still continued to do this. As, of course, Donald Trump is a very kind of bombastic, egotistical figure. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of people on the right are saying there's something weird here going on with Israel is because every time Donald Trump gets disrespected, like the media disrespects him or a Democrat disrespects him, Donald Trump answers back. Squashes them. Pretty clear, Bibi now, 3 times that I've seen through multiple public incidences says, please don't do this. And Bibi still oversteps the line and does it. And in response to that, Donald Trump's like, here's more military aid. Here, your top guys that have been doing your work. Support these guys. Vote for these guys. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul, don't vote for those guys, those bad guys. These other guys, good guys. So this is why I think some of those questions, whether I believe if they're true or not, I do believe they're at least worth kind of speculating and worth asking.
He's holding people accountable. No other president.
Now, he did, when the Knesset and the Israeli government disrespected J.D. Vance, Donald Trump did come out and say, hey, no, this is not going to happen. I don't care. I don't need to talk to Bibi. It's not going to happen. Bibi then answered back, says, no, we're going to do what we want. We're an independent country. Now, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, that doesn't look, and again, we haven't heard Donald Trump answer back here. That's the weird part of it.
President's been able to do that. So, I trust him more in foreign policy than any other member of Congress and any other, pundit or
I do as well. And by the way, that's big. That was just announced right now?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's you can pull it up right now and you should show it to your viewers. It's on ERICCORTELLESSA. Yep, right there, first one. That's just posted. Go down. There you go.
That one?
Yep.
During my latest interview with President Trump, he made it clear to Netanyahu the consequence if he capitulates to extremists in his coalition and moves to annex
the West Bank.
The West Bank, Israel would lose all of its support. I love that.
Now, whether you like that policy or not, like Patrick David just said, I love that. Now, this is, again, towards a public interview. Now, again, a lot of people also need to understand that there was a public disinformation campaign that Donald Trump and Bibi engaged in right before the bombing of Iran in order to lull in the Iranians to put their defenses down in order to allow the kind of sneak attack that happened by the Israelis and the U.S. government working in tandem that launched attacks inside of Iran, trying to take out their scientific and political and military leadership, which they've done very impressively. Now, Donald Trump, behind the scenes, is saying this stuff, right? He's not really saying it publicly, but he's saying it through like proxies and other people. For me, a lot of people are like, well, is this another disinformation campaign? Since there was similar threats and similar conversations happening right before the bombing of Iran. And some people are now saying, are we gonna bomb Iran again? This is why a lot of people have those very serious questions.
I love it.
But that's what I'm saying. So many people were advocating for this peace deal not to work out and trying to say that he's controlled. And it's like, they are not the ones. It's like,
Listen, the peace deal was broken. Luckily, it's on again after that unexploded ordinance blew up, and automatically Israel just started bombing. And then luckily they stopped.
like that famous poem, "The Man in the Arena." They're not there. They're not seeing the backroom conversations and discussions. And this is the type of foreign policy we need: accountability.
So,
but instead of just tough words behind the scenes and having us believe it, make it public. Right? The reason it's not, the reason why a lot of people have these questions. What do you think is going on here? Is Trump controlled or not? Let me know down in the comment section below. I always appreciate a diversity of thought and expression. And if you do too, get a shirt and then express yourself again. Some of them are so funny and ridiculous. And I love to make people laugh and I love to make people think. And if you think I did that, share this video with your friends and family members. I'm going to be here for you guys watching and sharing these videos. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearchange.